Hello, welcome to our show, Embracing Your Design for Midlife Transformation. The tagline, Come Alive to Impact More Lives. As a tiny habits coach, happy for no reason trainer, and the Gene Keys guide, I invite soulful professionals to have conversations related to their life experiences, businesses, human design charts, and hologenetic profiles based on gene keys and ancient I Ching. Enjoy our show. Hello, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have my guest, Christi Williford, as my guest. And we met at webinar actually to teach us how to use a meetup. And I'm so intrigued about the strategy, but I also meet great people like Christi. And so I invite her to be my guest today. Christi, how are you? Could you say hi to our audience first?
Hi, Pei-Ming. Yes, I am doing great, and I'm so excited. I was so excited to also meet you on this meetup workshop, especially when I found out that you work with the Gene Keys. And I know we'll be getting into that because that's a book that I have come across and I'm fascinated by. And I'm interested in using it in my own work as a graphic designer and branding person. So I'm grateful to be here today.
I really intrigued by her background. She says she was raised by an artist father, but a scientist mother. And like, this is such a integration, right? Also, she has more than 20 years of communication design and brand strategy experience. That's how she's really the great intuitive, the design for people's messages and branding. So I very happy to have Christi today with us. I believe everybody has amazing stories to say, to tell, to share. Would you like to share your journey, how you become a branding expert?
I would love to. So, like you said, I grew up with a creative artist father and a scientist mother. And for a while, when I was studying graphic design, I had a hard time deciding between graphic design and scientific illustration because I loved the art side or the science side. I was able to take anatomy and physiology, and I loved really getting down into the details of the drawing side. But then I realized when I was studying that I really also loved people. And if I were to just do scientific illustration, I would be alone a lot, slaving over a drawing by myself. And I decided I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I did take on some of those skills and the science knowledge. And I was able to really, once I got into the world, use both in meaningful ways. So when I was in San Francisco in my younger 20s out of college, it was during the dot-com boom. So that meant that there were lots of opportunities to flex my entrepreneurial muscle. And I was able to help startups with their ideas and creating their brands. So that was sort of where my entrepreneurial career started in the beginning. And then later on in my career, I did work for some larger corporations and saw the corporate side of branding and how that works and how it's very democratized. So I decided that I was going to create my own business to take all of that knowledge and be able to help smaller businesses and solopreneurs find out what their why was and help pull that out of them by using all of this science and art. I majored in graphic design, but I had I didn't have a minor, but I almost double majored in scientific illustration.
Okay.
But I decided just to graduate. But I did take a lot of, I took anatomy, physiology, and a lot of scientific illustration classes. So I do have an illustration background. And some of my designs that shine through in a lot of my designs, sometimes I use illustration.
That kind of remind me why the human design system become very popular. You know, the energy center and the Gaian channel. We easy to see the information through the picture, other than through, you know, the vibration wise, the words is really just a low vibe because it's based on the definition, based on the structure, based on the education, but the arts really flow behind our words. We can relate to art either by our hearing or our eyes, right? So when you
Right.
have the color and have information using the graph, no wonder we feel like we see this before. But you see the picture, everybody has feeling with it, maybe different.
Right.
But that is a great thing because we all see what we need to see. I really appreciate people who has artistic design background because they can um, show their spirits in a way for the receiver to feel. So that feedback, that connection is much stronger
Right.
than reading a book or sitting in the classroom.
And
Yeah.
everything
Mhm.
has meaning. So
Mhm.
that's the science behind it, not just the visual, but the colors. Like every color has a meaning that resonates with people. So it's important to clarify who you are so that you choose the right colors, you choose the right symbols, so
Mhm.
that it does show a visual of who you are and who you want to be out in the world and how to
That,
connect to those other people that you want to connect to.
that's so true. All this decision usually come with a journey. Have you kind of faced some sort of the turning points?
Yes, I think one of the jobs that I had in the corporate environment, I think I was sitting at my desk one day and I just realized I think I have enough experience and information from working here and working at all the places that I do that I want to I want to have more of an impact on people. And I think being at this corporate job, it was just slow to really have an impact. It was going to take years of climbing the ladder. So I decided that I would move forward with my business as a branding strategist and brand designer and really um, focus on small businesses and solopreneurs that also wanted to make a difference in the world. So that's where I thought I could be better serving people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was a big turning point for me once I made that choice.
But like what did you feel a little bit hesitate? I don't know.
Right. I did.
Yeah.
We were trying to, my husband and I were trying to buy a house at the time. So I knew it was a
Mhm.
risk
Yeah.
of quitting my corporate job to start a business when we needed to um, get a mortgage and buy a house. But I just went with my gut and tried it out. And
Mhm.
I really felt like the universe created a path for me once I was clear and once
Yeah.
I had my action plan.
Mhm.
And it has worked out for the last 20 something years. I
That
mean,
is
I've definitely
great.
had highs and lows, and there have been times where, the work has dried up a little bit, and I thought, well, it's time to get my resume back out. But usually when that happens, another project comes
Mm.
my way, and then I put the
Mm.
resume back. So far I haven't had to do that.
Yeah, that is so true. Once we just trust, maybe ask, well, what
Right,
next, right? And it's something where you
right.
come into that. And that is so perfect to match your profile in human design. By the way, your energy type is a generator. If you don't
Okay.
know about the four type of energy type in human design, only generator and manifesting generator, they have this energy or engine in projector and manifestors and reflectors. They don't have this powerful engine within their body. So they depends on 70% of the generators and manufacturing generator to create the sustainable energy so everybody can use that.
Mm,
So we are
interesting.
very important to create a clean energy, not
Okay.
frustration energy, because our non-self thing, like when generator really want to do things, but they didn't get where they want to go, they create this frustration.
Hmm.
And other than the anger is the manufacturers. They want to make impact. They cannot do it. They become angry. But we are more like frustrated. Um, So think about, 70% of generator, no one like their job. They're all very angry and frustrated. And that's the energy, collective energy everybody stuck in. That's how a lot of people, they don't know their energy type. Sometimes they were, because they follow people, 70% generator, they believe they can just like that. They can stay out late, they can, you know, do anything, and next morning they can still wake up with fresh energy. Not necessary. So that become somebody will burn out is like, what is like, I have all the energy, but at the end of the day it's gone. I just feel drained. A generator doesn't say we are going to be forever, because the strong power we have at the same time can be damaged and destructive, particularly when you're doing something you're not aligned. Like you just want to do that, you have energy, right? So you force yourself to get that, but when you finally get that, you feel empty because that is not the aligned goal. So whichever, it doesn't mean your type is better than others. We need to know our own type and know our profile. The profile make from line 1 to line 6. And you can see that's kind of like a house, a 2-story house. So line 1 people, like I'm the line 1 people, is usually use the magnified glasses and try to find clues and try to create something on the first floor. And the 2, which you are 2-4. So 2 line would be more like a hermits. They really like the space within their area. They need to have a quiet time. They need to have a more me time to contemplate, to reflect. But they usually come out if they want to to share. And the 3 is very interesting personality because they are in between the first floor and second floor. So they are usually transmutate. Like you want to go up and you want to go down. Then you just have to like tasting everything. So it's my like a trial and error type of personality. So those is number 3 line usually is the people can be a very successful business because they are so flexible. They don't really, they learn new thing on the way because they don't really attach to the old thing. It's like, oh, I learned that for 10 years. I need to stay in that job. No, they need to shift. They need to shift. So they can jump in, right? Very flexible. And the 4, which is you're at the other line. 4 is friendly, like to associate with people or animal. They just want to support and share their knowledge with people they enjoy to be with. So it's a community builder. Then 5 is a fixer in a way. They are the go-to people. So sometimes their line 5 we show up very early age. I interview many people, they have a line 5. I ask them, did you go like shopping? People come to you, ask direction and say, yeah, even I was even 4. Because they are just like, people kind of know they know something. Most of the leader you call like natural born, they are not born with leadership skills, but they do have the DNA expressions. Let people feel or guess they have something can offer to them. And number 6, the 4, 5 is the second floor people already. And the 3 is kind of up and down, but down, right? And number 6 people is the person on the rooftop. So they are very like visionary kind of a thing. They can see what's going on, the silliness, number 1, 2, 3 people on the first floor doing something crazy, right?
Yeah.
And the number 6 usually don't do that kind of groundwork because they are just know things. But those people usually mature a little bit later in their career too, because in the beginning he tried to fit in, but he feel this is not what I want to do. But you feel like you have to do something, right? So number 6 people usually finally step into their power, become a teacher or those visionary leaders. They don't interfere to do things, but they are leading the pack to do things. So those is the line. And your 2, 4, based on what I see is is because your design things, you do need to have time to contemplate, right? Like you can
Yeah,
relate
that
to the
makes sense.
person, or we can using something you learned before, become the piece of wisdom to help your
Mhm.
client to design their particular brand. Then number four is because you actually design a brand for them to be a leader or community, so people can recognize that brand. So your four is definitely become a genius to bring that uniqueness from your client, and also focus on to let them shine so they can build their community with their true brand. So that's your
Oh,
profile. Mhm.
I love that. That
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
yeah. And of course, like different profile and energy type will have different strategies and authority based on the human design system. For a generator like us, we better to wait to respond. That's the best
Mm,
strategy because we want to do things, right? We want to
yes.
jump
Or
before
react. Yes, and that's gotten me in
Right.
trouble before. So that
Exactly.
makes sense.
So like
Okay, that
we're exciting. We have all the engine ready to go. But
yes.
then we need to wait for the right driver, right? Someone really just
Okay.
connected. Then we just drive all the way in. But if that someone or something is not click, make sure our sacral energy don't go to the wrong place. So this is a fun for human design system. I use it to disclose the inner energy flow for our body. But it's not us. It's really just the feeling, the experience we have, the energy um, within our body. But it also
Okay.
can be influenced by people around us, because everybody has different energy flow based on the design and based on whether they process, the clean energy concept. If they are
Yes.
not processed, they have some, leftover or those negativity, then those people come to our life, then we become impacted by their energy because, energy is invisible. Energy just can go everywhere. So we
Right.
don't have a really the way to block it. So it's a lot of life coach will say, set the boundary, block it, control. It is not in the energetic world. You cannot do those kind of things to deal the energy. So the best is really understand our energy flow, the patterns. Then knowing that's your norm, that's you, that your peace, love and quiet and humor, fun. But all of a sudden it changes. So that's not our energy. So
Okay.
sometimes you particularly like you have a lot of open center. So we have a 9 different energy center in the human design body graph. The more you open center, that means you will experience more of not the same. But the same energy center, if they're defined, the color in, that will have a consistent energy flow. So I can see you have a totally open head, your G center, your throat center, your will center, and the solar plexus. They are all wide open to experience life.
So is that
That
good or bad?
depends. They can be both.
Okay.
Yeah. So like for me, I have an open solar plexus. That is our emotion center. I remember when I was young, always go out with family, has fun, ride the bicycle, go to the local ice cream shop. It's all the fun, fussy memory. But my parents are always like amazed. Every time I came home, we have a grumpy mood.
Hmm.
And they just don't know where it come from. And I feel I must be wrong. Like why everybody is still happy? I'm just like the cloud just jumping. So now I understand more. It's like because I have really open solar plexus. So if I know if I'm living alone or I'm happy being alone, that is really me.
Hmm.
But if I start to have a heaviness and I don't have any particular reason, then I know that somebody's energy coming to my era. So I know
Interesting.
I don't need to entertain that because I just need to wait until it's gone. If I think that's mine, I will find a reason, right? Why I'm so grumpy? I'm supposed to be happy, you know, and it becomes to kind of say it must be something wrong. Then you criticize yourself that much. So I learned not to do that after I understand the human design, because this is really turning points. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure you have any experience like in your growing up. Did you feel somehow your experience just shift?
Well, now hearing what you just said about my profile, I look back at my childhood and I was sensitive to other people a lot, or I got my feelings hurt a lot. So that makes sense because I would take on other people's stuff or
Yeah.
take things personally.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is nothing bad, because the good news is those open center become our money making centers, because
Oh, well, that's good.
we learn, we become wiser, right? Because like for me, I can really easy to help people to get through their emotion shift, because I learned it all my life. And for you as a designer, the good news, you have your head is wide open, which means you have inspiration, can be easy flow through you. So you don't need to seek for it. You just need to be quiet and contemplate, and then the idea is
Yes,
just coming, right? So
that is
that
so
is definitely
me.
your genius.
That is spot on. And I do. I have to leave the house sometimes and go down to the creek and just be still and quiet so that I can think or come up with an idea. So yes, that resonates.
Yeah. And the other thing, you have this G center, that is our love and identity, those kind of the directions. But
Can you
that's just
explain? Sorry to interrupt. Can you
no problem.
explain the G center? Where's
Yeah,
that
it's
on
the
the
9 different
diagram?
center. G is the diamond in the heart
The
area.
diamond. Okay.
Yeah, it's the diamond shape. So what the G center based on human design is, so you can attract things, because we are a magnet. We have a magnetized body, right? With all the irons and stuff. So we will, before we have a GPS, somebody can know that's the north, that's west, right? So because we
Sure.
have the magnet, we can kind of a sense. But G center is our magnet, but it's only monopole. That means we can only attract. We cannot pushing out. That's how people say, you can block your energy, pushing out, set a boundary. That's making no sense. You cannot do that. You can only attract. When your G center is clean, your full G center also called it love. They got so many love, self-love, and love the body, love other thing, universal love is all on the G center.
So that would mean if you can only attract and not push away, then you have to lead by example. That's how I see that.
Yes.
Because if you cannot influence someone else and you can just model how you want to be, then you'll lead by example and you will attract that.
Exactly. And we will raise your vibration. You only attract the same vibe.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the law of attraction thing. Yeah, exactly. So for the open center one, that's, you just need to make sure you are grounded, and then you are, not have this past experience or negativity still track in there, because the more you track the negativity in there, the vibe is going lower. Then most of us don't feel we can attract it because something blocked it. It's not we don't have an ability to attract. Everybody can attract because that's what we are. And it is just how maybe we're influenced by others, or we just don't trust ourselves, and don't give us enough space and time. Then always just worry about the future. So those become more of the important, like a lifestyle issue. So how we think who we are and how to build our life based on our belief, those kind of thing is really become very crucial. Once we realize we can only attract, right? Because most of us don't know until someone say that. Say that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can attract the people in there because you might need the lessons from this person. So it's not
Right.
necessarily bad things, but at the moment we really don't see that points. I mean, we just need to learn something fun and then shift it and make the choice really fit who we are.
Yeah, and puts the responsibility back on yourself
Mhm.
for your life instead of blaming someone else or making excuses.
Yeah, yeah. But that's how we can gain our wisdom and become more mature, right? So we can making better choice. And I think the human design and the gene keys for me is become a tool to help me and I also share with others and to see ourselves a different way. I say this is actually our um, kind of self-talk, but in the good way, right? The
Okay.
self-talk because you understand, all right, so Sunny, because you are not happy, it's not you, right? Just let it be. Sit there for a while since be gone. That kind of talk, other than say, what's wrong with you? Everybody's happy, you're not.
Mm,
So actually shift the language. Once you know yourself, you accept your fixed patterns, but the fix is not always there. This is because you think about how can you be live alone without people, right? So
right.
you go to places, other people, the energy will just coming to you. So it's no way, particularly right now, we're living in this very tight society, no way you can be really truly who you are. Gene is part of the human design system. So
Okay.
human design system has a 4 esoteric system within it. So it's integrated. And gene keys, if you have a chance, maybe you can go search like a RAVE, RAVE, Mandela. So you will have this whole picture as a body graph in the middle. And then you have a ring outside.
Okay.
So become 360. Then the very out, you can see there's like a pattern, like 6 line, it can be broken line or solid line. They got
Yeah.
all the different, that is the gene keys based on, is the ancient I Ching, the hexagram.
Okay.
So the hexagram is based on 6 line. Each line can have yin and yang. Yin is the broken line, yang is the one line. So they
Okay.
got combination of 64 different archetypes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Now
that's
I get it.
one of the system. But then also have a astrology, the 12 house, also different horoscope thing. Then you have the body graphs based on the Hindu chakra. So you got energy center. Then there's something you don't see in there is called Kabbalah or Tree of Life. It's an
Okay.
ancient Hebrew system. That is the voyage, like talking about our journey. So Gene Key author Richard Rod, he started with the human design system with Ra. That is the founder for human design system, but because his own realization and his training in the ancient and Eastern philosophy. So he merged, he's like writing the poem. Like, and when you read the book, it's really just reading such a great flowing language there. So they created gene keys. But for us to contemplate, even you have a certain gene, we all have the 64 genes because that is based on the genetics. That's really a gene keys, not just coming out with the term. It's genetic and our body is biology is all matched with that. So each one we have a journey through 3 different sequences based on the tree of a life. The first one is called activation sequence. So that activation is more the doing parts and being parts. The second sequence is called Venus. So the Venus on the chart, you can see the color. The activation is the green, Venus the red. So when we
Okay.
get to the Venus, it's a love relationship with yourself. So the whole path actually kind of reverse, go back to your grow up experience and your emotion strategy, and also the intellect. Like we got programmed, most of
Mm-hmm.
us, to say you have to do this, otherwise you're not smart, right?
Right.
But the wisdom is within our body. We don't need to do it. It's something we just know. It just not able to come out yet. So if we embody or, just go through trust and process your emotion in a way, you will start to know the wisdom within. Then you will start to shine through all that. So this Venus sequence is really just go back and revisits all the emotion blockage. The third sequence called Pearl is blue color. What happened in the Pearl usually is midlife or older. You start to ditch all this negativity and traumas you experience in your life and get better idea of who you are and what your energy flow and what thing you love to do, or who come to your life and teach your lessons. So you combine all that, then you can do something called vocation. That's really what you're here for. Because you go through a certain way, you have the wisdom learning through your voyage, then the skills learning from doings, right? Then your vocation, once you align, you'll be effortlessly because you just flow through it. You don't fight through it. You don't need to fight anymore because everything block you is already open, right? So
Okay.
the pearl is, think about the pearl when those irritant sands, right, into the clam. The clam
Yes.
just hate it, but they cannot push it out, right? So what they can do is just nurture it and put the glossy things around it. So even with irritant sands, it can be a shiny, glossy pearl. Today, since it's just short time, I think I would love to share your activation sequence. So maybe they can give you some insights related to your doings and beings.
Yes, I would love that. Yeah, I mean, this is so much. I feel like we could do this for a month.
Well, actually, the Gene Keys has this activation retreat coming. They do one spear a month. That's how
Oh,
the
really?
slow want us to go deep dive to accept, and then they have all the meditation music and stuff. It's just amazingly give us more of the space and time to understand ourselves. So
Is that
yeah,
in person?
it's online, but
Okay.
they has I love this one they call the call. So they coming in, they group people, stranger into the room, but we are not comments on their comments or share. We just listen.
Okay.
And we contemplate their language and also we share our insights about ourselves. I think that pause in between and all the intensive listening is really healing. Like, right, you don't feel people say you should do this, you need to do that. In there,
Oh,
it's just
that
like,
sounds nice.
oh, everybody's the same. We have the same storyline. We need to go
Mhm.
through evolutions and, challenges. Then you can see people's resilience through, their storytelling. I personally enjoy that. Particularly go to the Venus sequence. It's just amazingly to release all
Oh,
the
that sounds very intriguing.
the blockage or something. It takes time. One spear for a month, even you're so busy, you can still find time to do that. So I like the slow pace of the retreat they do. The number maybe didn't mean anything for you, but if you look at the voyage, the color, and the spear, you can notice the first one's called life work.
Mhm.
Then they have like a 3 different um, description under that. The first one you might see is the line 2, so you are the dancer, which the hermit is like express yourself alone. So you need the reflection time and me time to go through things. But because you go through, you kind of like dancing around the options, right? So that's how the line 2, they are really just expressing through the movements.
Is that why I do stand and do this a
I
lot?
don't know. Maybe you did that. Maybe
I
you
do.
like just kind of move around and you can see you got, the movements.
I
Um,
do that a lot, so
yeah,
that makes
okay.
sense.
But you would be best to just kind of express your body. Somebody can be do the gymnastics or hiking, moving, swimming, everything with a movement will be perfect for number 2. But you can see that 3 different description. The bottom one, the gene key language, you call it the shadow. So for example, your 17.2, your shadow is opinion. So everybody will start with default consciousness, because this is really the consciousness level. So the default is called shadow. And we all need that to experience our life first. And it's the right point, right time, you will start to let go of the shadow. So you might go to the gift. The gift frequency, the conscious level will indicate we have more of, kind of get up and start to see yourself on the distance. So you begin to have a more of the choice. If you are in the lower, you always just see something you can see, right? But if you get up, you still to see something different, right? So that's the
Yes.
gift frequency when we have the chance to flow that. But it doesn't mean that you have to years and years work. It's we all floating with different conscious level all the time.
Okay.
So it depends on the busyness. If you're so busy, definitely we trap into the heaviness and the shadow time. But if we allow us to relax and get away from the situation a little bit, most of it can see we feel different, right? So we already rise up to that consciousness level. But the highest, they call city, that is just the language expression about you are merged with the light. That means you don't have anything 3D, you're already evolved. But since we're living the 3D, those is just know the potential. Once if you somebody can do it in the 3D world, if they really know how the energy do and they accept itself 100%. But most of us, we still have baggage and we still not able to let go, right? So for me, I share with people is that just know you have this limitless potential. It's just like you don't need to work so hard, because that, merging to life thing is now doing. It's really just be. Because if you start doing, you start to using the 3D things, right? You just need to do the energy or something. But if you just be, then that's the only way we can go to the city. But it doesn't mean say we're not able to do it. It's just experience-wise, we will experience that sometime. Particularly, you just like all of a sudden you just don't remember your name. I don't know about you, and I know you like to do designing. Sometimes I'm reading, I can just totally don't remember time.
Right.
But you're in the zone, in the flow states, that actually it is that city consciousness, because you don't know you are doing something. And you don't remember the time, right? So even we are still living the 3D, we will experience that energy and consciousness. So that makes sense now, the 3 levels.
Yes. Yes.
So I can go ahead to share your amazing profile. So 17, the gene key language, you start with opinions, right? And you think the pairing, that is the evolution, so 18. So 17 and 18, they are the pairing partners. So when that happens, they usually the low frequency consciousness, like opinion and judgment, they go hands in hand. So you have opinions. That's great, because we all have opinions, right? And judgment, that's necessary so you can distinguish the brand, right? If everybody's the same, you couldn't see the differences, and that is not good. But the situation is too attached to our own opinion on the judgment. So opinion and judgment never be good or bad. It's the attachment, and it become a dogma. Become the deep belief. If I don't have that, and I cannot be that, that become a strong attachment.
Got it.
Right. So the opinion and judgment is really actually what you need for your career, right? Because you do need to have in knowing the
Right,
color
because I
spec
need to
better.
be able to
Yeah.
make choices and have an opinion.
Yes, exactly. So, this is, it's not saying the default frequency is all bad. It's just the attachment and also the awareness. Sometimes if you don't know you are so attached to it,
Okay.
then you become a blockage, right? Right.
Yeah, that
Hmm?
rings true because sometimes I do have an opinion and it's hard to let go of it, and I am very attached to it and thinking I'm right. And so if I had more awareness around, oh wait, I have an attachment to this. Why do I have an attachment to this?
When you got a chance, you can shift up to the far-sightedness and the integrity. So integrity is really just accept. So you're not saying this is right or wrong. Integrity is more like it's complete. So you have both. You have a right and wrong. You have black and white or different color contrast. This is all the whole thing. So that's your integrity.
Okay.
So that is both of you are doing. Then if you have a way to shift to the other side through the SQ, SQ is our 7-year imprinting. So a lot of experience, we don't understand the 7 years or younger, we become our operation system. You can call it subconscious mind. So there are subconscious build the habits and how to say to ourselves or how to see things around us that become the patterns.
So every 7 years this happens?
This SQ is only your 0 to 7.
Oh, from 0 to
7
7
years,
years
yeah. But
old.
then
Got
you
it.
have
Okay.
EQ that is from 7 to 14, and you
Oh,
have
right. Okay.
IQ is 14 to 21. So 7-year cycle is because of our genetics, our stem cell cycle. So
Okay.
every time 7 years, our body will be totally different set of cells. They're still coming from the same genetic material, but then your lifestyle, your thought, your emotion can put some imprinting in that genetics. So every 7 years, you will feel you being a different person. You can see from the picture, or you can feel like, well, 7 years ago, I loved this, but now I not necessarily like it. So it's just because really the experience form, I don't want to say push it, but it's kind of a guiding us through a pattern. So 7 years, then you evolve. You can also not evolve. You can
Right.
stay there angry. So, I used to be able to do that, and why I cannot, and you still live in the past. But if
Okay.
you flow with the
Flow with
patterns and
the
the
patterns.
accepting, then you will
Oh, that
flow
makes
life
sense.
much better. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you go through the SQ, then you start to see your radiance. That is our health. So radiance is one of the being keys, and the other is purpose. So the radiance, if you allow your body to do what they need to do, and make sure you always enjoy what you're doing, and send gratitude and all the things, now our body will respond because that's the language they understand. Because our body really create a form of the love. But if we tell them different language or different tone or different frequency, they don't understand that. So they try to, bring down to that frequency because they
Yeah.
just not fitting right. So we are really our own master of our own health. So we can choose because we're happy, not because someone want us to do it. Then we follow it, but now our body is not agree. So sooner or later, if we're not aware, we always follow other people that didn't listen to our body, and that's how the radiance will tune you down, you'll dim your light. So that's the radiant key. So for you, it's 58. And this is a very your driver key, to be honest. Like when you don't feel satisfied or frustrated as a generator, that actually give you more fuel to do something you love to do. So it's a kind of switch. You have to be
Okay.
very not happy first, then you have a chance to switch to the bliss, right? So
Yes,
that's
it
how,
does kind of happen like that too.
yeah, that's how it make you happy too. So don't worry about if you are in a deep, not, but that is just transition. You're gonna flip it. So that's your 58. It's a very amazing key, right? And 52 is even more wisdom in there because in ancient I Ching, 52 is a double mountain. That means you feel like you be blocked. You cannot go. But the reason maybe you couldn't go because there might not be your path. So your purpose key is really just want you to turn the stress about what I cannot go. As a generator, we always want to go places, create a lot of stress. But then you should appreciate that pause so you can choose something really aligned with your purpose. So you have to wait to respond and don't label it too quickly. Say, this is not good. I'm blocked. I got stuck.
That's the
Or
hardest part
language
for me
you,
is
right?
the hardest part for me is the waiting.
Yeah, it's not only you or generated 70% of the people. Then the other 30% actually programmed by generator. So they all raised at the generator. You should set out your goal. You should do it. You should proactive. You should do, for us, it's just, yeah, but for them, that is not the right way. So it is very interesting to see, once you know your energy profile and type, then you can start to reflect, is somebody really not necessarily fit with the lifestyle we have right now? It just create a lot of conflicts. Then, that's one of my goal, hoping the parents can start to realize their kids and they're using the way to feed them the most, give them more space to explore, other than say, well, as a Chinese, we always compare to our neighbors. My mother would say, so and so, doing that, and I just like, huh. But now I say, no, regardless, I appreciate that pressure, but it definitely has a better way to communicate, right? So I'm really so honored for me to read this with you, and you're the 17 and 18 with all the genius you have. You can create your good judgment and the professional opinions, then you can help people. No wonder you are the excellent branding experts to do the design for others. Then at the same time, you're reflective, you are hermits, then you're friendly. All your wisdom eventually will share it within the community. Then you know when to stop and how to proceed. And I just appreciate you.
This is so amazing and very confirming of the path that I'm on. And I am very excited to explore more of this information. So thank you so much for bringing me on today.
No problem. Yeah, it's my honor. It's really give me a lot of joy for people to realize all the potentials, all the good genius within.
Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting again and talking more about human design and gene keys.
Thank you. You take care.